This is the Gaumont British News, presenting the world to the world. The Prime Minister is a man who likes to see things for himself. Mr. Churchill has warned us never to relax our precautions against invasion. Here with Navy and Army Chief Sir Dudley Pound and Sir Alan Brooke, he is inspecting coast defences. Britain's great war leader knows that visitors from across the Channel are a possibility for any time in the future. He wants to be sure that the reception committee will serve up a hot welcome.
Hi guys, you join me in another video. So today we're going to be looking at fortifications of the GHQ line, which was the main stop line in Britain, built to help defend against the German invasion. So there are many stop lines built, huge undertaking, and it was the biggest defensive project ever undertaken in the United Kingdom. Defensive lines all around the country. In Kent, obviously along the coast, obviously along the coast of England in general. In Wales, north of London, the GHQ line was the main stop line, which ran through Oxfordshire, Buckinghamshire, and then main bit of the countryside, and then north of London. Huge undertaking, huge defensive project. So we're going to look at some of the structures today. So I'm just coming up to where one of them is now, and camera around. Just look over there. So this is the Thames itself. Obviously you won't be able to probably see the bunker actually. So we'll get close to it in a second and I'll give you a show. There's others along this stretch of river of the Thames. In fact, within say 10k distance between all of them up the Thames, there's about half a dozen or more. So right, we'll carry on up the river. Okay, so these are standard of this section of line. There are specific types of pillbox used, either brick built, brick and then concrete on top, or etc. Anti-tank gun bunkers, anti-tank ditches, etc. A lot of the earthworks that don't survive today. So yeah, you'll join me back in a second. Okay, so here we go. So I believe this is a hexagonal type. Absolutely amazing condition from the outside of what it looks like. Still obviously exactly what it is. Not like some which were which have tipped or sunk to the ground, especially those that are on the sand. But yeah, this is absolutely incredible. So here we go. So range from the outside. Also they use steel rods to reinforce it. Looks like at some point it was used as target practice by, possibly, from the way of sort of, I'm actually not too sure now, but it just looks very, very beaten up from what it looks like. Let's go inside though. So obviously ports for machine guns, brain guns, etc., or riflemen. I'm not sure who manned this section of the GHQ line. On there. So you have this main column in the centre, which keeps everyone else safe and also keeps up the roof. Let's go in, shall we? If we can get in. Okay. Sadly, it's being used as a dumping ground for whoever, for dog poo, etc. It's a shame, and God knows what else. That's the case in the fate of some of these occasions. These were built in absolute panic and at such speed to defend this country, and yet they get treated like this by whomever. But you know, stuff is stuff. Yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing to see the people graffitied in here. But not to say like the guys themselves who were actually using this as a defensive structure at the time use this as a, well, graffitied in here. Not surprised. We're surprised, but yeah. So it's part of the reinforcing bars. It's like tram lines, to be honest with you. Like old tram lines. But yeah, absolutely amazing condition, considering obviously the state of the inside, but still quite solid. It's a mixture of concrete. I'm not sure if they coated it in concrete after putting bricks up. Looks like they have, or it might just be using concrete blocks. I'm not too sure, but from what it looks like, it's an amazing construction. And as I said, this is one of many along this stretch of the Thames. So as I said, this is part of the GHQ line, which I mentioned before. GHQ line was the main stop line in the UK, and in the 70s they did a war game with members of the army, etc., and the air force and the navy, as well as guys who were there during the time of the possible invasion, and also gentlemen who helped plan the invasion. Well, Operation Sea Lion anyway, which was supposed to be the invasion. And it turned out from the war game, with a lot of stuff going in the Germans' favour from the start, in the way of like pushing back the Royal Air Force, etc., that the Germans would have only got about 15 miles inland, would reach the Winston Line, which was the first major stop line beyond the beach defences, and that would have been as far as they got before the Royal Navy intervened. So the Kriegsmarine in general were very against the idea of an invasion. After the Narvik after the Norway campaign, the German Navy had lost half of its destroyers, several of its cruisers, as well as many of them damaged. One of the Panzer ships, or the heavy cruisers, or British knew them as pocket battleships, was heavily damaged and wouldn't be back in service again for months. And the fact of the use of river barges as landing craft and transport ships, which would flood in more than a light swell. So this is one of the first ones. So we'll quickly nip right here, and we'll carry on with a look at the other defences. So as I said, this is the main well, first one I've come to. I'm going to try and get to another one. It is a bit of a walk, so it might be a while. There's not much light left of the day, so I'll try to be quick about it. And we will only probably be able to look at 2, just because I don't have transport at the moment. I've been dropped off, so it's going to be a bit difficult. But yeah, I'll catch you back at another pillbox. Okay, now you join me back. I am now opposite the next pillbox. I'm going to see if I can get closer. I don't want to obviously trespass on someone's land, because obviously a lot of these defences and structures, etc., are now on people's farms, etc., and businesses. Sadly, after the war, for example, farm owners were paid £5 to remove them, etc. So because it was on their land, so a lot of them were demolished after the war. And it is a shame to say that also a lot of them are being destroyed today as well, in way of redevelopment and new buildings, etc. So it is a shame. So I think there is a need to really preserve these structures, because some are protected under some of them are listed buildings, listed defences, etc., like grade 2, etc., but not all of them are. And because there's still a lot that are hidden and that can't be seen from the road, so people don't know they're there. These ones, however, are quite obvious. They're in view of everyone. So I would really suggest, if I'll put in the description of this video a link to the page, actually, on Facebook, for example, that looks into helping preserve and document and categorize and put these into files, etc. Also to websites about this subject as well. So okay, so we're going to carry on. I'll quickly do a zoom around actually from where I am at the moment. Okay, so there's the pillbox at the moment. Again, on the edge of the Thames. I'm just on this footpath at the moment, up here. So this is just outside St John's Priory, on the Oxfordshire, Gloucestershire border. It's just up the river from there, just up from the St John's lock. The other one I visited was just outside of St John's Priory, up the road on the other side of the Thames as well. So on the main Letchtrade road, basically you'll see them. Well, you'll see the first one we looked at. So yeah, so I'll catch you back when I'm closer. Okay, so here's the other one. Just coming up to it now. This one looks a bit more higher than the last, so we'll have a look. Still looks like there's stuff dumped inside and outside, which is a shame, as is usual of these. It's got a lot more algae on it, so yeah, so we'll go up and have a look. It's a shame with all the rubbish. To the bars, etc. Again, great condition. Well, considering obviously bits missing here and there, but in general, looking really, really good. So this is the other one in the defence line of this area. Oh, excuse me. There we go. And right next to the Thames. Absolutely great. I'll get some photos of this and put them up after the video. But yeah, so this is all I can really do at the moment, and the other ones are still quite a bit of a walk away, and also are it's getting dark soon, so probably a bit out of the question really at the moment. But yeah, so that's that really. Seems like a bit of the roof though is coming away, which is a shame. Yeah, as I said, oh, just a minute, there we go, sorry about that. As I said, these are all part of the GHQ line, the main stop line in the United Kingdom. Hundreds of miles. These are defensive lines stretched all over the United Kingdom, and this one's priority was to defend central England and also defend north of London. So yeah, so really hope you enjoyed. I put the links in down below of the pages that I suggested. If if anyone's got any more information on these specific defences, I believe they are just like a hexagonal, or octagon. There might be octagon pillboxes, to be honest with you, what it looks like actually. So 8 sides, but I might just be wrong on that. But yeah, so, and they're quite high up, so obviously so it allows, so in case the land floods around the area, they can still be accessed, or they could still be in there. But then again, I wouldn't want to be stuck in one of those in case of an invasion, to be honest with you. Especially not minding so much this far inland, but especially the ones near the coast of the possible invasion areas, which was from Folkestone to Brighton in the west. So that was the perceived landing areas. Landing 90,000 men on the first day. Predictive losses actually from the war game that was done in the 70s was around half of the they were suffering 50% casualties basically in the first day, which is an insane amount, and that was from the war game. That was predicted. So not necessarily say that would have been the actual outcome if it was an invasion, but it wouldn't have gone well. The Kriegsmarine weren't ready, and they weren't going to be ready for a decade if they was building ships. And by this point, after Narvik in the Norwegian campaign, they were focusing on U-boat construction. Obviously they've already lost the Graf Spee in 1939. Many of their ships had either been sunk or damaged, so it was basically unfeasible. And if the Royal Navy came into play into the Channel, it would have been a catastrophe. The Germans would have probably at most been there 5 days before having to surrender due to lack of ammunition, food, etc., and casualties. They would have been cut off. The Royal Navy would have been in the Channel. They would have been nowhere to go. So yeah. Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed, and goodbye. Okay, so on the way back now, I'll end this video in a minute. But basically, these pillboxes would not be on their own. There'll be many different other types of defences surrounding them and linking them together, from slit trenches to possible dugouts to anti-tank ditches. But generally, because you've got the Thames as a barrier as part of this line, you don't really need anti-tank ditches, for example. The river's there to stop them. Any bridges that will be accessible to the Germans, so I keep going low, any bridges that would be accessible to the Germans would have been blown by local Home Guard units or regular army units within the area. So it would have been a killing field. And these are the strongest defences in the United Kingdom. So these are probably the most well preserved, because the ones near the coast, for example, tend to be sort of dug up a bit. But there are many others around. For example, near Aldershot, there's examples of 6-pounder and 2-pounder anti-tank gun defences and bunkers, etc. So yeah, there will always be more earthworks. People see the concrete and they see the pillbox, but what they don't see is the earthworks, which sadly have all but disappeared. So yeah, so cool. I'll go on to the end of this video. Okay, that ends this video today. I really hope you enjoyed. Sorry if it's been a bit rambly. It's just a case of trying to get to there. So as you can see, I'm just over here now, back opposite where the bunker is. Keep saying bunker, I mean pillbox. I will try and find out what the designation is of these pillboxes for the description if anyone wants to know. But I'll be posting pictures of the pillboxes up on one of the pages, as well as obviously at the end of this video, if you're interested. So yeah, so it's been a bit of an experience. I tried doing this yesterday but didn't have enough daylight. It was a case of trying to walk from where I live up to here. I wouldn't suggest it, it's a bit too far. So as well as just trying to find the way of getting here as well, because you've got to try and find ways of crossing the river without it being a main road, obviously, that get you to where you need to go. Sorry, a bit too close. Get you where you need to go. So yeah, it was an experience and interesting. But I hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.